Okay, so good afternoon once again. So I don't need to ano na. So let's start with the discussion with regards to the traffic management and accident investigation with driving. So we conducted the orientation with regards to your driving. So the task of mine today will be, or the rest of the semester will be discussing all about the accident investigation. Magtataka lang kayo diyan, bahagya na medyo papahapyawan ko lang ang traffic management. So medyo bibilisan ko lang siya because that it will be discussed sa inyo sa inyong driving school, no? So ano lang po natin 'yan, medyo papahapyawan lang po natin, ika nga. Okay? So let's start, or let's proceed with the discussion all about the chapter 1. So the chapter 1 is the introduction to traffic management and accident investigation. By the way, class, I will be giving you a notes, no, with regards to introduction to traffic management and accident investigation. Do not use the last academic year notes na naibigay ko sa kanila because I updated the notes na hawak ko po ngayon. So, updated siya, magbibigay po ako sa inyo on our face-to-face. So, for the meantime, please screenshot na lang siguro muna ng discussion natin ngayon. Okay? So, let's talk about chapter 1, the introduction to traffic management and accident investigation. Okay? So let's before we're going to proceed with the discussion all about the investigation and driving, let's define first the traffic. By the way, traffic has its own etymology wherein it originates in the Greco-Roman word traffico. Okay? So nagsimula po ang traffic sa word na traffico, which means or reference to the movement of people that dates back from the dawns of history. Ibig sabihin, the word traffico is the movement of people, yung paggalaw po mismo ng tao. But ang pinagkaiba lang, the movement of people, if you were going to watch the old movies, you cannot notice there that there is a motor vehicle that was involved during that ancient times. It is coming from a domesticated horse-drawn wheels to horseless carriage, but it pertains also to the movement of people. Kumbaga, parang yung word na trafiko, naggalaw siya ng isang tao. Okay? Sumunod naman is the Greek word originally called the system trafriga. Okay? After the early horse-drawn chariots with spoked wheels. So yun yung etymology ng ating salitang traffic. From the word itself, etymology, that is the origin of the word or the origin of something. Okay? So the word transportation, no, so we have here the word transportation. So the word transportation is the movement or conveying of persons and goods from one location to another. Trafriga and traffico only pertains to the movement of people, but the transportation is movement and or conveyance of persons and goods, not just persons but also the goods na pwede nating i-transfer from one location to another. Okay? So sa word na transportation, class, tatandaan natin that this is the movement not just to the person but also the goods, one location to another, from Bacoor to Dasma, from Bacoor to another point of the Philippines or even abroad. But take note of the persons that was involved in the origin of the transportation. We have here the nomads. The nomads is coming from the Greek word to pasture, originally refers to the pastoralist, a group that in an established pattern to find pasture lands for their domestic livestock. Ano ba yung domestic livestock? Ito yung baboy, baka, yung alam niyo yung ano, mga hayop sa paligid lang nila. By the way, please open all your cameras. Parang wala akong kausap, eh. Gano'n yung nakikita ko. Ayan. Nahiya yung mga mukha niyo. Oh, by the way, I recorded this video, this discussion para mai-post ko sa Google Classroom natin. Para mabalik-balikan ninyo. Ni-record ko siya, same as usual. Pero wala na din ako magagalit. sakit sa batok 'yan. Okay. What do you mean by to find a pasture lands? Ano ba yung pasture lands? 'Pag sinabing pasture lands, ito yung, um, I forgot the term in Filipino. Basta doon mo pinapakain or doon mo aalagaan yung mga, alaga mong hayop. Pastulan, 'yan, pastulan. Oo, the pasture lands. Doon mo yung 'pag sinabing domestic livestock, ito yung mga alaga mong hayop na puwede mong pangkabuhayan, puwede mong pangkain. Um, manok. Yung manok 'pag tumanda, kakatayin mo or gagamitin mo yung itlog. Now, those persons are refers to the pastoralist or yung nomads kung tawagin. Bakit? 'Pag doon sa lugar na yon, naubos or hindi na mapakinabangan yung lupa, kasi ang mas trip nila, ang mas gusto kasi nila sa time na 'to, yung madamo. Why? Because these animals ay kinakain hindi paminsan-minsan, there are animals na ang kinakain nila ay damo. So, kung wala ng damo sa lugar na yon, hahanap ulit sila, 'no? Sila yung mga nomads kung tawagin. So, para mabuhay ang mga alagang hayop nila, kasi 'pag namatay ang alagang hayop nila, pati rin sila wala. So, ang ginawa, hahanap ng panibagong lugar para 'pag doon lagyan ulit nung kanilang domestic livestock. Sila yung mga tinatawag na nomads, okey? So, there are types of nomads na mai-encounter natin, class. So, we have here the foraging population. Sila po yung mga nomads na naghahanap lamang ng pagkain. They were going to transfer from one location to another. It's because they were searching for food. Maghahanap lamang sila ng pagkain. But on the other hand, we have the pastoral nomads. Sila yung who observe annual cycle of pastures whose availability determined by the alteration of hot and cold or wet and dry season. Bakit? There are places. Parang konyo no. There are lugars. No, there are places, no. There are places na involve ang tawag dito, winter. Sobrang tagtuyot, iyan. Itong mga pastoral nomads, hahanap sila ng pastures, nung pastulan nila na depende kung ano ang availability ng lupa. For example, halimbawa magkaroon ng snow sa Pilipinas, we are covered by snow and ice. Now, the pastoral nomads, hahanap sila ng mga lugar na hindi apektado nung winter na yan. Why? Because their animals will going to suffer or worst case scenario, maganda matay-matay yun. Kaya ang gagawin, hahanap ng panibagong lugar. Now, doon papasok yung tinatawag na transportation. Why? Because it is the movement or conveyance of people, not just the people, but pertains also to goods from one location to another location. So yun po yung mga types of nomads po natin. Okay? Next naman po. So we have here the various modes of transportation in the Philippines, no? So as we seen, nagkaroon na ng pagbabago, nagkaroon na ng evolution on the transportation of the Philippines. So we have here the land transportation, the sea transportation, the air transportation, and also the railways po natin, the rail transportation. So, mapapakita po diyan kung gaano nag-evolve yung ano natin, yung tinatawag natin na transportation. So, 'pag ikaw ay pumunta halimbawa, you are coming from the Mindanao. I am a Mindanaoan, I came from Surigao. So when I go for a vacation there, I will ride an airplane because if I ride a land transportation vehicle, it took 3 days before I will going to proceed with my vacation. So, 'pag eroplano, 1 hour and 40 minutes lamang ang flight namin. So, that is very huge impact sa transportation natin. Plus, tatandaan niyo po that the transportation is very much important to the Filipinos, not just for the Filipinos but the entire world po. It's because of the transportation of goods. Tandaan niyo po on our example picture here, yung container po na yan, dun papasok yung tinatawag natin import and export. Okay? So, napakahalaga din po ng transportation, okay? So, ngayon, so maraming, establisyemento ay maraming infrastructure with regards to transportation ang nilagay po sa atin. Tulad na lang ng pagdudugtong ng railways natin, pagkakaroon ng subways, so 'yan. So, puwede po nating i-ano po 'yun sa transportation nito, okay? Yun nga lang, because of the evolution on our transportation, ayan tulad niyan, 'di ba? Dati sa probinsya, I will always remember when I was a child, there are two jeeps only to travel in our province, entire province. Alam niyo yung jeep na 'yan, maliit pa 'yan sa probinsya namin. Ang kabilaan, kaliwa't kanan dito sa Cavite, halimbawa 12 na pinakamarami, 'di ba, 12. So, 24, 25, 26, dalawang passenger seat katabi ng driver, pang 27 si driver, wala lang 'yun. Sa probinsya namin 25 person, isang hilera lang, kanan, 25 din sa kaliwa. Tapos sa gitna, sa gitna may isang upuan pa diyan. Alam niyo yung upuan na kahoy? Yung upuan na kahoy na meron pa diyan, o sabihin natin 20 rin, o magkano, ilan na, 70, 70 na. Meron pa dun sa tabi nung driver, passenger seat. O ilan na, 72. Sa driver seat, meron pa sa tabi niya. Kung ako ang driver, nandito, meron pa dito sa tabi niya. O ilan na, 73, pang 74 si driver. Eh, may nasa taas pa. Sabihin natin na ano din 'yan, sabihin natin 25. So, nasa 100 ang karga sa isang jeep, sa isang biyahe. O gano'n, gano'n siya, gano'n. Tinalo pa ang bus sa isang biyahean lang, 'di ba? So, maganda ngayon kasi minu-minuto na may jeep. O ito, suwerte ng mga TMX dito sa ano, oh, okey, dito. Tignan mo yung TMX dito dito, extendable. Dito sa Luzon ang TMX pamporma lang. Alam mo sa probinsya namin may pakpak pa yan, minsan nga may ano pa yan, eh, may bubong, eh, 'di ba? Ito pa, ito, I don't know what's the trip of these two person here, but I will always remember Sir Sean, ayan. Lagi kami nagwa-one, two, three 'pag-uwian namin nung college. Sorry Sir Sean, nabulgar. Ayan, I always remember Sir Sean kasi 'pag wala, 'pag talo sa bilyar diyan kay na madam. Yan lagi nagwa-one, two, three kami. Pero si Sir Sean niyo kasi mabait yan, mabait, pumapasok. Eh, ako hangga't kaya pang sumabit, sasabit ako hanggang SM Molino kasi wala na akong pamasahe. Kahit sasabihan ako ng driver na, "Uy, Toy, pumasok ka dito." Sige po, okey lang. Tapos pagdating ng SM, ang ginagawa pa ang Great Wall of Molino nun, ano, "Sir, rinig ako." Okey lang, totoo naman, eh. Okey? So ayan, yan yung ano, yan yung history on our transportation. Next, we have here also the early types of transportation. Paano nga ba nagsimula yung transportation natin? So tatandaan natin nagsimula ang transportation natin by virtue of manpower, wind power, and animal power. So first, let's talk about manpower. On the manpower class, tatandaan natin, meron types ng mga manpower modes of transportation. Una na dyan, yung carrying pool. Okay? So if meron lamang sana tayong face-to-face ngayon, I will let you do this carrying pool. Alam niyo yung dalawang poste, papabunot ko yung poste ng Meralco daw. Papabunot ko yung dalawang poste nung volleyball, halimbawa na lang medyo matibay-tibay na bakal yun, tapos yung tao nandun nakaganito siya, nakasabit dun, sabay may apoy na sa likod. Yun yung example ng carrying pole. So the carrying pole, it was started in the Far East and China, wherein there are two persons involved, then there is a pool, 'no, na hawak-hawak nung dalawa. Kaya dun sila sisimulang maglakad. Usually, ginagawa nila ito for the transportation, yung yan tulad ng example sa picture natin, yung animals na na-hunt nila, okay. Next is backload and thumb line. Sa backload of thumb line, always remember lang 'pag tinatamad kayo magdala ng bag, Alam mo yung backpack? Oh, I will get you example. Ay, wala palang backpack. Ito pala. Here's the backpack and then you put it here, ganyan. Ganyan na siya. Ayan, oh, 'di ba mukhang tanga lang. Oh, ayan. Dito niyo siya ilalagay. So, ang hirap maging teacher 'no, para maintindihan ng estudyante kailangan mong gawin 'yun. Dito, ilalagay mo sa ulo yung parang tali siya and then there is a load here sa likod mo kaya tinawag siyang backload and thumb line. Next is sledge on runners. Ito yung tinatawag na balsa. I forgot what's the term in in Tagalog, pero sa Bisaya kasi balsahan ang tawag sa amin. Alam niyo yung kay ay, yung Pasko? Santa Claus, 'yan. 'Yan, sledge on runners ang tawag nila, but sledge lang ang tawag dun. Bakit yung sledge on runners? Saan ba yung sledge on runners, sila yung mga taong nagtutulak mismo, yung mga runners, okey? 'Pag sinabing sledge, ito lang, yung example lang nito, itong hinahatak nung ito. Pero 'pag hinatak ng tao, animal power na po yun, ay ng hayop, animal power na po yun. 'Pag tao mismo ang nagtulak sa'yo, manpower po yun, sledge on runners po yun, okey? Next, so we have here the travois. So ito naman, napakasimple lang po nito, dalawang poste lang o dalawang kahoy na pinagsama, ta's tinalian sa gitna, tapos puwede na pong lagyan ng, load yung gitna po nito. It's either it will be a manpower or an animal power. So ito, yung husky ba 'to or wolf, nilagyan nila ng load, travois po ang tawag. Itong parang naka-ekis diyan, that is the so-called travois. Okay. Next, let's talk about the animal power. So we have here the ox. Dun sa Mesopotamia, dati, the first domesticated animal nila is the ox. Yun yung nagdadala ng mga kargahe nila. Dito kasi ang uso sa Pilipinas kalabaw, baka, kabayo. Ayan, sa'kin nakita ng ox dito. Wala naman. So, sa Pilipinas ang uso dito is kalabaw, kabayo, tsaka baka. So, in the Mesopotamia, sila yung mga nagdo-draw ng mga draw war chariots din nung na-involve sila sa giyera. Next animal is the reindeer. Ayan, yung paborito-paborito natin nung mga bata tayo si Santa Claus na hanggang ngayon hindi ko pa rin nakikita kung ano itsura. 'No, lagi akong nagsasabit ng medyas, I don't know, wala pa rin naglalaglag. But reindeer is the first domesticated in Siberia naman po sila. Sila yung mga naghahatak ng mga ridden with saddles, kasama na po diyan yung sledge. Next is the dog, the first animal domesticated. By the way, I always mentioning domesticated. Domesticated means naturuan po. Okay? Naturuan ng tao. Okay? So si dogs, kaso nga lang, hindi mo pwedeng lagyan yan ng mabibigat na bagay. So medyo ano lang sila, mga light to moderate, load lamang sila. Next naman, so ayan, Santa Claus, nilipad, wala pero next, I have here also a donkey, 'no, and then the llama. Si donkey nagsimula sa Middle East. So yun, if you're going to read the Bible, oh yun, usually you will see donkey or you will going to read donkey na ginamit for a mode of transportation. Also, we have here llama. Sa Incas naman po ito, first, domesticated animal in Incas. So ayan, so ano siya, dun sa mga nasa Middle East, I think, I'm not sure, 100% sure, pero nandun po sila usually na nabubuhay. Wala din po sa Pilipinas 'yan. Kung manonood kayo ng mga vlogger na nagpupunta dun, so merong mga times na parang pinapakain ito sila, yung mga llama, okey. Next, we have also the elephant. No, if you are going to watch, Umbak, who is fan of martial arts, yan, Umbak, it was, domesticated in Rome, Burma, and Thailand. So ito naman huge animals 'to kaya ang karga nila is mga huge ano din, huge, load para sa ano, lalo-lalo na mga lumber industry. Sila yung pinapahatak. Next is the horse. So until now naman, we're using horse po 'no, para doon sa wheeled vehicles po natin. But ngayon na lang is, mode of transportation pa rin siya, But the thing is, used for ano na lang siya, tourist. Hindi na talaga siya yun ang ginagamit natin for transportation, hindi na po. For tourist na lamang. Okay? So those are animals. Next is we have camel. Ayan. But the camels has two kinds. So we have the two hump. So Bactrian camel. So hindi na kailangan i-explain. Pag two hump, dalawa talaga po ang bukol yan sa likod. Pag one hump dromedary camel, yan po yung one hump lang sa likod. Okay? So wala naman po sigurong papayag dito or kung meron man, babayaran kang 2 million, gawin kang camel sa disyerto. Kung ay hindi ka talaga makapasa, gawin kang camel sa disyerto. Okay? Kidding aside, so ginagamit siya on the UAE as a mode of transportation there. So malaki sila. So sometimes they will going to have a heavy load para doon sa pagkakandak po ng loading or transportation. Okay? Next naman po, we have the yak. So ito naman po ay kapamilya ng kalabaw, ng ox. But the thing, ang pinagkaiba lang po nila is mabalbon po ito, mabuhok. Okay? Para po silang mga husky na pinalaki tapos nagkaroon ng sungay. Ayan, yan po yung mga itsura ng yak. Although wala naman po ito sa Pilipinas. So Tibetan, galing po sila sa Tibetan Plateau. Kapatid po sila ng baka at kalabaw. Kasama po ng ox. Okay? Next naman, so we have the wind power. So on the wind power, we have the ancient kite. So there is a general, there is a Korean general na na-involve sa giyera, no? Na-involve sa giyera, kaya gumawa siya ng ancient kite. Ano bang ginawa sa ancient kite? The cord was conveyed across the river where heavier ropes were fastened and finally the bridge cable. So ang ginawa po dito, yung cord po ng kite na yan was gusto niyang tumawid ng river, no? Gusto nila tumawid ng river. Ang ginawa is by the support of that particular kite, ginawa nilang parang tulayan. Okay? Parang nagsi-swing lang sila, parang gano'n. So, a cord was conveyed across the river where heavy ropes were fastened and finally the bridge cable. So, parang yun ang naging suporta niya, yung mga ancient kites na yan. So siyempre, malaki po yan. Okay? Pangalawa naman is the Vinci's ornithopter. Si Leonardo da Vinci, sa sobrang talino ni Leonardo da Vinci, pinag-aralan niya yung flapping of birds. Alam mo yung flight of birds natin. Nakita niya na pwede namang gayahin. Puwedeng gayahin yung pag-flap ng wings ng isang ibon. Kaya napagtanto niya as a form of transportation, he made the ornithopter. So ito yung actual blueprint. So ito po siya in the actual. Yan. Yan po yung itsura. So if you've seen, this is Leonardo da Vinci riding his ornithopter, sinubukan niya. If you will going to notice the feet, no? The feet is attached doon sa wings. So 'pag pinapadyak niya yung kanyang mga binti, yung mga paa niya, sumasabay din ng pagaspas yung mga, wings na 'yan. So, paano ba lumipad ang isang ibon, 'di ba? Paano ba lumipad ang isang ibon? So from the ground, paangat, okey? Paangat po siya. So, papagaspas lang siya saka siya aangat. Kaya gano'n po yung Leonardo da Vinci's ornithopter. So, ngayon siyempre sa Spider-Man binago na. Ayan na, may hélice na sa loob. Next, pero ano 'yan, part pa rin siya. We have here the Montgolfier balloon ni Franz Joseph Michel at ni Jacques Entine. So, ito naman po yung, itsura ng Montgolfier balloon, okay? Ang sistema naman po dito, merong nilalagay. Okay? It was condemned as released several balloons when they proposed to use the two condensed prisoner for the first ascent with the passengers. Kawawa yung mga prisoner dito kasi yun ang ginamit nilang sample. Anong ginawa dito? Nilagyan nila ng pressure yung dulo ay yung butas sa loob, and then nung nakaipon ng pressure, yung dalawang preso sila yung humahawak. Tapos nung nagkaroon na ng malakas na pressure, hinayaan nilang lumipad yung ano, yung dalawang preso. So nung na-transfer sila sa ibang lugar, they so-called transportation. But there are no study shown kung buhay ba yung dalawang preso. Hindi natin masigurado kung buhay ba sila. Okay? Next, we have also here Pilatre de Rosier. Ito naman po ang ginawa nila. Ay, by the way, Pilatre de Rosier kasama din po sila dun sa free balloon ascent naman na ginawa. Next, we have the Siemens rocket plane. So ni Ernest Werner von Siemens, siya yung nag-design ng mga rocket plane propelled by a gunpowder. So ito naman po yung airplane na propelled ng using of the gunpowder. So just imagine, gunpowder is not was able to use on guns but also in um propelling these airplanes as a mode of transportation. Okay? So yun po yung ano natin. Next, we have also here the Lilienthal glider. If you're going to remember, ornithopter ni tawag dito, ni Leonardo da Vinci, ito naman kay Lilienthal glider, sabi niya, "Panis yang sa'yo, gagawa ko ng akin." Ito naman ang kanya. This is the actual photo of Lilienthal glider. Ang ginawa niya o ginawa ni Otto Lilienthal galing sa taas, pababa. Magga-glide siya kumbaga, okey, ayan. Yan naman ang itsura. Kung yung kay ornithopter galing sa baba, paangat, itong kay Lilienthal naman galing sa taas, pababa. Glide ang gagawin niya. Okey? Naintindihan po ba? Naintindihan? So kung 'pag pinagawa ko kayo ng ano, ng ganyan, sa sample-an natin sa 5th floor, okey lang. Hmm, okey? Sige. Next, we have the Santos Dumont airship. Ito naman yung experimented steam-powered balloon in Paris. Dito naman ang ginawa ni Santos Dumont dito is nag-release siya ng balloon that was propelled by a steam. Dito naman, paano ba ginagawa ang isang steam, 'di ba? 'Pag tayo ay magsasaing, 'di ba? "Anak, lagay mo nga sa ibabaw yung, ano ba, usual, gulay." 'Di ba? Ano bang lumuluto sa gulay, direct heat ba or yung singaw lang? 'Pag sinabing steam, singaw lamang po na galing sa init. So, ang ginawa niya dito para lumobo yung balloon, merong apoy, you know ano, yung hot air balloon. You know hot air balloon? This is the ano, proponent niya 'no, na nung hot air balloon. So, merong apoy tapos ang magpapalipad sa Santos Dumont airship balloon is the steam lamang po nung, ano po. So, problema, so kung makikita niyo sa picture, ano po ito, actual picture po ito ng Santos Dumont airship. So ito siya siguro 'to nagda-drive, sinusubukan niya, sinasabi niya sa mga ano niya na, "Ito may naimbento ako, sakay kayo, gusto niyo?" Ayan. Ayan, so itong mga tao dito manghang-mangha sa ginawa niya, okey? Kasi lumilipad po talaga yung, airship. Next, we have also the Wright brothers flying machine ni Orville and Wilbur Wright. Ang ginawa naman po nila dito, studying the problems of heavier than air flight built by plane kite before they flew successfully their first man carrying powdered machine. Ito naman po yung itsura. Dito po nagsimula ang naging tawag ito, parang naging basehan kung paano gawin po ang isang airplane. Okay? Sumunod naman dito ito na, ito 'yun. Ito yung mas malinaw na design ng biplane kite. Okay? Next, we have the Lindbergh Spirit of St. Louis ni Captain Charles Lindbergh. Si Captain Charles Lindbergh ang kauna-unahang piloto na nagpalipad ng barko, 'di joke lang, ng eroplano. Okay? Ang pinalipad po niya is, papunta po siya ng New York, from New York to Paris para po mag-deliver lamang ng airmail, okay. Yung 'di ba ni Wilbur Wright, yung Wright brothers gumawa sila ng eroplano na sample, ang unang nagpalipad po nun ay si Captain Charles Lindbergh. Ito po ang itsura ng Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis, ayan po. And that particular airplane was displayed in the Museum of Airplanes in our province in United States of America. Okay? Okay, so naka-display po siya dun. Yun po yung ano po natin. Okay? So that was the early modes of transportation class. So that is just a recap of what was the early modes of transportation. So let's talk about the wheeled transportation. Paano nga ba nagsimula magkaroon ng gulong ang mga sasakyan natin? Okay? Una, we have here the wheel. Paano nga ba nagsimula yung gulong? Invented probably in Western Asia. Ang una nakaimbento po ng mga gulong is coming from the persons in Western Asia. So a milestone and a great step toward in transportation. Just imagine, nowadays, we don't have wheels. Okay? Pansinin nyo ang isang bagay na walang gulong, hatakin nyo or itulak nyo, mas mabigat compare sa merong gulong. So that was the inspiration of the uh, persons behind the invention of wheel. Gusto nila mapadali ang trabaho ng tao. But tatandaan po natin the wheel was not originally for the motor vehicle but for crude carts and wagons. Doon po nagsimula yan sa Tigris and Euphrates Valley noong 3,500 BC. Enables the man to transport burdens beyond his power or animal to carry or drag. So para mapabili yung kanyang pag-transport, ginawa po ang wheel. So we have here the earliest types of wheels. So we have here the solid wheels on fixed axle. Pag sinabing axle po, alam niyo po yung ah, baka mamali ako ng pronounce eh. Ehe, 'yan yung ehe sa motor, ihi yung ano niyo, eh, yung ehe yung alam niyo yung ayoko mag-ano, mag-hand gesture iba yung ano baka ma-screenshot, eh, baka ma-screenshot 'pag ano basta yung parang rod siya, parang rod tapos may lulusutan na butas dun nilalagay yung gulong, yung tawag dito, mags ng gulong. So yun po yung, dito naman sa solid wheels on fixed axle, hindi po natatanggal. From the word itself, fixed axle, hindi po natatanggal. But the wheels on this part is a solid tree po. Kahoy po mismo ang ginamit na gulong dito. Okay? So nagkaroon ng problema dahil solid na gulong yan, sabi nila, ang laki ng problema. So, just imagine ganito kalaki ang gulong. So, ibig sabihin they will going to utilize a certain gano'n din kalaki na gulong. So, ang ginawa nila, naghanap sila ng panibago, diyaan na buhay ang Sumerian chariot with flanked wheels. Dito naman, ang pinagbago, gano'n pa rin, gulong pa rin, pero maliit na po na kahoy. Okay? Galing na po sa small chunks of tree. Sumunod naman po diyan is the Greek quadriga with spoked wheels. Dito naman ginamit ang bakal. They were able to invent materials for iron materials kaya naging bakal na po 'yun. Okay? So 'yun po yung kasunod. Ito po 'yun. So pwede na pong magkarga ng mga um soldiers, tandaan po natin class 'no, that the ancient times ginamit po ang mga mode of transportation not just for the conveyance of goods, but also for the transportation of soldiers when they were able to conduct a war between or other cities or countries. So yun po yung ginamit para mapadali po yung trabaho or yung pagsugod. Next is the Roman Carpentum. Dito naman po, ito naman po ang itsura nun, ayan. So ginagamit po siya ng mga ancient farmers para malagyan ng kanilang mga ani. Dito naman, they were able to safeguard their livestock para hindi po mabasa at the same time kung mapapansin ninyo matangkad po yung Roman Carpentum, okey? Next is the Italian Coccaio. Dito naman yung sasakyan na po ni Cinderella, yan. Elegante na po siya, okey? They are the same, design with the Roman Carpentum, but this Italian Coccaio was a wooden framework siya, wooden framework, but at the same time there are metals na ginamit at the same time meron din pong mga leather instrument na ginamit doon sa loob po ng Italian Cuccaio. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? Naintindihan
Yes,
ba?
sir.
Okay. Now let's talk about the persons behind our roads, no? The persons behind, tatandaan niyo po ang Pilipinas po walang kalsada dati. Yan lang po ang tatandaan po natin na, ang Pilipinas wala pong binild na kalsada dati. We will able our ancestors were able to find a locator of the road doon lamang sa kung saan sila paulit-ulit na dumadaan. But we have the Romans. The Romans are the major road builders. Tatandaan po natin that Romans, sila po yung mahilig mag-transport kasi may susugurin dito, may susugurin ganito, ganyan. Sila po ang naka-build ng more or less 50,000 miles na kalsada. Okay? That's why they was able to recognize as the major road builders sa buong mundo po. Okay? Nakuha po ba? Okay? Kaya marami nagsasabi if the design of the Romans was able to ngayon nakuha pa rin, was able to use ngayon pa rin, ngayon is ganun po katibay daw ang kalsada natin. I don't know what happened, no? Kasi, ah, okey pa naman, nagiba na naman, okey? I don't know what happened, okey? So, marami nagsasabi na lahat po ng tawag dito, lahat ng ginawa ng Roman sa kalsada is nagtatagal po until now. Okay? So next we have the personalities in traffic. So sino-sino nga ba yung mga tao na yon that was involved in traffic management? So we have here Carl von Drais. Siya po ang nagpasimuno ng tinatawag natin na dandy horse or Draisine or yung pioneer po ng bisikleta. Ayan po ang Draisines. Ang bisikleta, ngayon may pedal, may chain. So pag pinedal mo siya paikot-ikot, tuloy-tuloy na gumugulong. These Draisines, no, itong Draisine na ito ay ang ginawa po dito is free will lang po siya, free will. Kumbaga nakasakay ka, no? I forgot where I put the video regarding this itong Draysins na 'to. So, I keep on searching saan ko nahanap yung Draysins na 'yan. Kasi meron akong video na nahanap, um, narrating the history of the bicycle. So, diyan po nagsimula. So, kung makikita po natin may dalawang gulong, may frame siya. So, nandito banda, itong foam na 'to sa baba, upuan. Tapos itong nandito sa taas, yung parang patungan, patungan po ng siko 'yan. Ang manibela po talaga diyan is itong nandito, ito. Ayan, nakita niyo yung arrow, ayan nandiyan po yung manibela niya, diyan po siya kinokontrol. Kumbaga, parang naglalakad siya patakbo, tapos nakapatong lang yung kaniyang, arm doon sa kutsyon para hindi siya masaktan. So yun po yung ginagawa ng Draysins. Sumunod naman is si Kirkpatrick Macmillan. Siya naman yung gumawa ng first machine with pedals which were attached to and drove the rear wheels by means of cranks. Siya naman yung gumawa, by the way, siya yung gumawa ng mga cranks natin, no? So, bago daw umandar, bago umandar ang isang makina, kailangan may pedal muna para magsilbi siyang crank. For example na lang, yung mga motor, no? Before the emergence of this scooter, no? 'Di ba meron pang parang pedal dun na papadyakan mo para umandar? Na-notice niyo po ba 'yon? So ganun po ang style na gustong mangyari dati ni Kirkpatrick Macmillan. Okay? So let's talk about pneumatic tires. So ito po yung pinakauna or nagsilbing pioneer ng pneumatic tires, si Scott John Boyd Dunlop. So gano'n po kamahal, kaya gano'n kamahal yung gulong na Dunlop, it's because they are the one who pioneered the making of the pneumatic tires. By the way, what is a pneumatic tire? Pneumatic tire is those are tires na gawa po sa goma. Okay? Yun po yung pneumatic tire. So siya po ang una nakagawa po niyan. Okay? So next, we have the Frenchman Etienne Lenoir. So siya naman ang nagsimula or nag-introduce ng motorized carriages by his invention in the 1980s, 70s of the internal combustion engine. By the way, what is an internal combustion engine? From the word itself, internal combustion. Until now, ginagamit po ang ICE para magpaandar ng, tawag dito, ng makina ng sasakyan. 'Pag sinabing internal combustion, himay-himayin natin. Isang makina na sa loob mismo ng makina nangyayari ang combustion. Ano ba yung combustion? Pagsusunog, sa madaling sabi. Pagsusunog, ibig sabihin may gas. Okay? May gas sa loob niyan na kailangan sunugin, and that gas will, 'pag nasunog siya, will able to produce a mechanical energy para mapaikot yung gulong na yan. That is the, tawag dito, yun po yung ibig sabihin po talaga ng internal combustion engine. Kumbaga, from the gas, from a gas, halimbawa yung gasolina ngayon, yung gasolina natin ngayon, 'pag nailagay siya sa makina ng sasakyan, meron diyan kaya may spark plug, 'no? That spark plug will able to maintain the fire, 'no? Siya ang magsu-supply ng fire doon. Kaya spark lang, it's because spark lang ang wag naman apoy kasi masusunog 'yan. Spark lang, and tatandaan niyo po, even a single spark na madikit sa isang gasolina or flammable liquids will able to produce a combustion. Now, dun sa spark na yon nangyari yung combustion, nag-apoy, nagsunog siya sa loob ng makina. Tandaan po natin that a certain engine is compacted, nakapaloob siya, 'di ba? Para siyang baril nasa cartridge case, 'di ba? Nandun siya sa loob. Now, kaya 'pag nagsusunog yung nagbubuo yung pressure sa loob. Now, if we're going to release some of that pressure will generate a mechanical energy. That mechanical energy will able the motor vehicle na para umandar po siya. That is the ano po ng internal combustion engine. Okay? Na sinimulan po ni Frenchman Etienne Lenoir or Lenoir. Okay? Next, we have the Nicolas Otto and Gottlieb Daimler. Ito naman po yung ginawa po nila. Pioneered the automobile manufacture of the gas engine, and also the successful automobile manufacturer po silang dalawa. Okay? So we have here Rudolf Diesel, lolo po ito siguro ni Vin Diesel. Sila po ang pasimuno para magamit yung tinatawag na diesel engines. Okay? Mga diesel gas po natin. Okay? Develop an internal combustion engine which is similar with the gasoline engine but requires no electrical ignition system or carburetor, and uses the other form of liquid fuel known as diesel fuel. So sa kanila po ipinangalan yung diesel fuel po. Okay? Next, we have Henry Ford. Okay? So the first manufacturer of the motor vehicle. So ang pinakaunang sasakyan niya po is the Model T. Yan po ay ginawa sa, tawag dito, sa United States. You know what the history of this Model T? I've watched a certain documentary video on Facebook, no? I forgot where I watched that one. Basta sa Facebook ko siya nakita. Ang history sa New York dati, tandaan po natin that New York is a populated area in United States wherein ang mode of transportation there is horse lamang, no? Dahil sa horse, doon po nagkaroon ng yun po yung mode of transportation nila. Ngayon, dahil sa marami ng tao, marami ng gumagamit ng horse, 'no, dumating sa punto na yung kalsada ng US daw, ng New York specifically, napuno daw ng ebak ng kabayo. Ngayon, yung ebak ng kabayo na yun umalingaso sa buong state of New York, na nahirapan na sila linisin, sobrang baho na, marami ng langaw, marami ng nagkakasakit. Doon pumasok si Henry Ford para gawin yung Model T. Prinisinta niya prinisinta niya yung, design ng Model T na sasakyan, then pinakita niya sa buong state of New York. Nakita ng buong tao, oo nga 'no, mas mas ayos pala 'to. Wala ng dumi na maiiwan, at least ito mas okay, much better. Kaya nagkaroon ng mass production nung Model T. Okey? Naintindihan po ba? Na-gets po? Okay, sige. Next, we have Felix Wankel. Si Felix Wankel naman ang pasimuno nung tinatawag nating crankshaft. So ito naman, advanced type of engine named after him, operates very differently from gas and diesel engine. So engine naman po ang ibinuo ni Felix Wankel. Okay? Next naman, so we have John L. Macadam. Sila naman yung nagpasimuno ng theory of feeder road building. So ito po yung kanyang paggawa ng, kalsada. So, class, by the way, dati hindi pa po uso ang bakal talaga. Wala po talagang usong bakal dati. Siguro yung iba nagamit na, 'wag ng bakalan 'no. Pero dati kasi maliliit lang na sasakyan ang dumadaan. So dito sa feeder road theory, ang ginawa ni John L. Macadam is he designed a certain road 'no, na gamit ang inspirasyon sa paggawa ng mga Romano, okay. So nandiyan yung sa ilalim, papatagin mo na yung lupa, lalagyan ng bato, tapos ipapatag ulit, parang ipipison, tapos lalagyan ulit ng bato hanggang sa magsiksik, maging compact yung mga bato at hindi basta-basta or lumubog yung kalsada, okay. Next naman, we have John Palmer, the first fast male coach. Siya naman po ang tinaguriang first fast male coach. Siya ang pinakamabilis maghatid ng tsismis or ng sulat pala rather. Okay, siya po ang pinakamabilis maghatid ng sulat sa buong United States po. Okay? So ito po yung male coach. Okay? We have also here the invention of bicycle. So, tatandaan po natin that the invention of bicycle was happened in 19th century. So, we have here the hobby horse or the Dan horse. This is the the ancestor of the modern bicycle. Yung Draysines or yung dandy horse or yung hobby horse kung tawagin. Ayan po siya. Ayan po siya pag inoperate. Ayan, parang nakatayo lang siya, parang nagsiswing-swing lang. Pero gumagalaw po 'yan. Okay? To. Ay, mali ito. We have also here, ang tawag po dito is ito yung naging, by the way, ito yung naging, ah, improvement nung bicycle 'no, kasi ay nung Draysines. Kasi nakita nila nakakapagod yung gano'ng estilo. Ang ginawa nila, hindi na lumalapat sa lupa yung paa nung driver nung bicycle. Ang ginawa nila, nag-incorporate sila ng pedal. Tapos yung pedal na yan, wala pa pong chain na na-invent diyan during that time. Ang ginawa is kung makita niyo 'tong rod na 'to, ito sa gulong na malaki, 'tong rod na 'to connected sa paa. Now, 'pag habang umiikot, sumasabay din 'tong malaking gulong that makes it to move forward and backward. Okay? So yun po yung naging evolution nung bicycle po natin. Next, siyempre, dito na po nagkaroon ng motor vehicle. The first mode of transportation to challenge railroad. So sa madaling sabi po, mas nauna po talaga ang railroads po sa atin. Okay? Mag ma ma Mako-confirm naman din natin 'yan sa palabas ni General Luna, 'di ba? They were not able to ride a motor vehicle but a railway, 'di ba? Okay? Next. So ito po yung automobile na nangyari nung 1890s. This is the Model T ni Ford, ni Henry Ford. And from Ford era, the demand of vehicles became great for the transportation of goods, products, communications, and people. So, kaya nangyari, because of that high demands on the transportation, ang ginawa, dumami na. So, we have the land transportation, the railway, the air, and the seaways po. Okay? So, lalo na ngayon, we have presently, ngayon, we have the LRT and MRT. By the way, the meaning of LRT is the light rail transit, and the meaning of MRT is the metro rail transit. So we have line 1, line 2, line 3 of the metro rail transit, and line 1 and line 2. I don't know, I forgot. Hanggang line 3 din ata ang LRT. Ayan, so meron tayong LRT papunta na dito. Malapit na daw, papuntang Cavite. So, puwede na po yung mag-girlfriend or boyfriend kayo from Quezon City, mabilis na lang ang biyahe or magtrabaho man, 'no? And currently, we are building, subways sa ano natin, sa Metro Manila. We are building subways. So, ayan. So, hoping na matapos po 'yan, okay. So, yun po yung mga transportation. So, how about the evolution of transportation in the Philippines? Paano nga ba nag-evolve ang transportation sa Pilipinas? Tatandaan natin that during the pre-colonial transportation, when we talk about pre-colonial transportation class, it talks about before we are colonized by the colonizers. Ibig sabihin, bago po tayo masakop ng mga mananakop sa Pilipinas tulad ng Spanish, American, Japan. Ano ba ang mode of transportation natin? Unang-una diyan is yung tinatawag na banwa. Yung banwa na yan is the small boat used for fishing and traveling between islands. Yang banwa po na yan po ay isang maliit na bangka lamang na inter-island ang biyahe. Pero hindi inter-island na Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Parang tawid lang talaga siya, pangtawid lang. Banwa po ang tawag. Now, we have also here Paraw. So, siya naman yung medyo malaki-laki. Was another common boat used for transportation, particularly for trade and commerce. Bakit sinama siya sa for trade and commerce? Why? Because medyo malaki-laki po siya at pwede po siyang makargahan. Okay? Next, we have also the karit or yung horse-drawn cart or yung tinatawag po natin ngayon na kalesa. Pero ang kalesa po ay nakuha po natin sa word na Spanish. It's because of the colonialization of the Spanish people. Pero ang Pilipino po talaga na ano ng kalesa is karit po ang tawag po diyan. Okay? And we have also kalanduyan. Kalanduyan po, o yan po sakayan pala. Ayan, sakayan. Tapos kalanduyan. Ayan. Kalanduyan po, hindi kalandian, baka maiba kayo ng pandinig. Kalanduyan. Kalanduyan po, if you will going to remember Apolinario Mabini, yan po yung ginagamit sa kanya as a mode of transportation. Yan, nakaduyan diyan, tapos may dalawang tao nagbubuhat. Kalanduyan. Okay? Next naman, we have taklong. Okay? Taklong naman po is yung balsa na po ngayon, kung tawagin. Nakalutang sa dagat, tapos meron pong mga bamboo raft na pinagdikit-dikit at the same time, pwede po siyang gamitin sa pag-transport ng goods. Okay? So, let's talk about, so that's all for the pre-colonial transportation. We all see that the overall pre-colonial transportation in the Philippines was primarily based on the use of water and land. With the reliance on human and animal power, these modes of transportation were essential on the daily lives of the indigenous population, allowing them to travel for trade, commerce, and other activities. Yes, you will going to tag dito, see on our presentation na it is on the ano lamang po 'no, it is on the manpower and the animal power lamang sila. Parang nakaayon lang sila kung ano ang maibigay sa kanila ng natural resources natin 'no. So, that is on the pre-colonial transportation. Next naman, we have the Spanish colonizers. Nagpunta na po or nagkaroon na po ng pangungolonya or pananakop ang bansang Spain. The colonial era transportation, the introduction of of modern methods of transportation. With the arrival of the Spanish colonizers, the Philippines in the 16th century, the transportation system in the archipelago underwent significant changes. So, dahil nga nasakop tayo, meron at merong pagbabago doon sa ating transportation. Doon na-introduce yung tinatawag nating galleon ships. What is a galleon ships? Those galleon ships are ships coming from Spain na sakay sila Ferdinand Magellan nung time na tayo ay kinolonya. It's because of the how many years na nakikita natin yung mga barkong yan, nagaya po yan ng mga Pilipino at ginawa din po nila. For what? For trade and commerce po. Okay? Para magamit po natin sa pagpapalitan, okay? Sa trade and commerce po natin, sa market po natin, nagawa po natin yung galleon ships. Okay? Next, we also have here the building of bridges. Ayan. Tulay ng Sapote. That is part of the Spanish colonialization. Nabuo yung tulay ng Sapote. Parang ganyan din. Okay? So nagkaroon din, bakit nga ba ginawa nila yung bridges o the different regions of the Philippines? It's because in order for them to connect, tatandaan po natin that the Philippines is archipelagic in nature. Pag sinabing archipelagic in nature, the location of the Philippines is not, alam niyo, hindi buo, kalat-kalat, hiwa-hiwalay, isla-isla ang Pilipinas. Kaya ang ginawa, kaya merong part na tatawid ka na lang sa ibang lugar, kailangan mo pang tumawid ng ilog. Kaya ang ginawa ng mga Spanish noon, mag-build ng bridges na lang para mas mapabilis. Okay? Next, during the American colonizers naman, so after makolonize tayo ng taga Spain, dumating naman po yung American colonizers. Dito naman, na-introduce na po yung modes of transportation such as trains and automobiles. Okay? So pinakilala po nila sa atin yung train tsaka yung mga sasakyan po. And not just that, they build airports, seaports, for a more efficient and allowable transportation of goods and people. So dahil sa mga nagkolonya sa atin, nakuha po natin yung mga modes of transportation ng motor vehicle and also train. And not just train but also airplane. The introduction of modern methods of transportation during the colonial era greatly improved the transportation system in the Philippines, making it easier for the people to travel and transport goods. It also played a key role on the development of trade and commerce in the archipelago. Class, tatandaan nyo, uulit-ulitin ko that the Philippines is archipelagic in nature. Kaya mahirap po if the mode of transportation lamang ng mga Pilipino is to walk, walk, walk. Paano na pag pagitan ng Luzon at Visayas, Visayas at Mindanao? How you are going to transfer from Luzon, Visayas to Mindanao in just walking lamang? So there is a vlogger, siguro kung dumaan sa mga news feed ninyo, may isang vlogger na gustong lakarin ang buong Pilipinas. I don't know, nasaan na siya ngayon. Baka nakita ninyo. Okay? Abutan nyo na lang ng tubig. Okay? So those are for the American colonizers. So, however, it also had a negative impact. Lahat naman na natutunan natin sa mga colonizers natin, nagbigay po sa atin ng daan para magkaroon po tayo ng additional knowledge. But, meron din pong kaakibat na negative impact po niyan. Anong nangyari? Traffic. Kaya, do not make as an excuse na, "Sir, late po ako sa classes because of traffic." Naku po, palabas pa lang po ni FPJ, yung alam niyo yung mga black and white pa lang may traffic na. Tulad niyan 'no, black and white na 'yan, may traffic na, oh. So hindi po talaga rason na ang traffic. But we think of them, we think of our colonizers because they will able to introduce those modes of transportation that help us to ease with our transportation system here in the Philippines. Okay? So we have here the contemporary at transportation, current challenges, and future developments po natin. The evolution of transportation in the Philippines is an ongoing cycle of changes that have kept up with the times. As the nation moves forward and in population growth, it has become increasingly necessary to develop solutions or modify existing solutions to address the current challenges. Another evolution on the mode of transportation ngayon. Sa tingin nyo, anong bago sa mode of transportation na hindi nabanggit doon sa naunang early modes of transportation bukod sa motor vehicle? Anong nadadagdag? Anyone? Ano nadagdag na hindi ko nabanggit bukod sa motor vehicle? Yung mga hari ng kalsada ngayon.
E-bike, sir.
Yeah, very good. The e-bicycle, e-cars. Dati e-bike lamang na pwede nating biyahin subdivision to subdivision. Now, we have an e-motorcycle, we have an e-car, we have an e-taxi. Alam niyo yung blue na taxi? That is an e-car. So electric powered po 'yan. And we have also tawag dito yung yung pwede siyang gawing electric, pwede siyang gawing motor vehicle kasi gas operated. So we have the contemporary transportations. But yun nga, it has also a negative impact. Alam nyo class, dadating ang time sa Pilipinas that we cannot no longer use of a gasoline engine. We're going to use electric. Kahit nga sa pagluluto, 'di ba? We're going to use electric, inductions. Darating sa buhay natin na we're going to use only electric. Okay? But yun nga, there are negative impacts. Bakit? Lalong dumami sasakyan, 'di ba? Lalong dumami. Okay? Next. So we have here the public transportation system is currently trying to keep up with. Ang challenges ngayon, the most appropriate challenges na nangyayari ngayon is the traffic congestion. Dati, when I came here in Cavite, kaya ko pang i-distinguish yung oras ng traffic. 5:00, traffic yan kasi maglalabasan ng nasa opisina, mga nasa klase. 12:00, labasan yan, uwian. So yun, kaya mo ma-distinguish. But now, every time, anywhere, traffic. Di ba? So, traffic congested na masyado ang kalsada ng Pilipinas. Anong mga future development ang pwede nating gawin? So, we should build infrastructure such as highways, bridges, and mass transit system. Yun yung ginagawa natin. Di ba? Kaliwat ka ng gawa ng kalsada. Di ba? Kaliwat ka ng paglalagay ng mga another form of transportation. Next, air pollution. Okay. It's because of the rampant numbers or the huge numbers of driving motor vehicle that is gas operated. Siyempre, mag-i-emit siya ng carbon monoxide coming from a gas engine. Kaya anong mangyayari? There is a problem in the air pollution ng Pilipinas. That's why we are suffering from global warming, climate change. Yan. Anong future development? Anong ginawa ngayon na future development? They are incorporating those e-powered vehicle, electric powered vehicles para wala ng emission ng carbon monoxide. And growing demand for transportation. If you're going to see those areas or commercial areas in Metro Manila or in Cavite, yung pasahero, yung commuter nasa gitna na ng kalsada, nasa gilid na sasakyan, 'di ba? Kung makikita niyo 'yan. So, yun yung mataas na demand ng transportation sa atin. Next is insufficient transportation infrastructure. So, yun, konti yung infrastructure natin when it comes to transportation and also traffic congestion. Kaya anong ginawa? Sa Metro Manila at sa Pasig, naglagay ng river ferry service at siyempre yung mga subway sa Mega Manila. So yun yung ginawa na improvement po natin. Okay? When it comes to transportation. Okay? Any questions?